Hi, this is Skoggit, and it's time for Story Time with Skoggit, Volume 7. This one's entitled, Not Wine, Beer. Before I get started on the story, I need to pour myself a nice cold Lone Star. Then we get started with the story. Back around 1973, I was 16 years old. My brother would have been 14. And a friend of mine, what was also 16, his name was Jerry, but we called him Greaseball. And give you a little background, he got this name because he had oily hair and he was kind of heavy set, but his face looked like Porky Pig. So you get the idea. We called him Greaseball. Really good guy, really nice guy. And what we did is we'd work like jobs like mowing grass or whatever, and we'd get enough money so that we could buy booze with it. Yeah, that's right, buy booze. Strictly illegal, but we couldn't buy it, so we'd have to have somebody else buy it for us. And that's what this story is about. It's a funny story. Anyway, in the town where I live in, which the town back in 1973, it was dry. I mean, it was dry. They didn't sell beer or wine or anything or liquor in the stores like they do now. Like you can walk into Walmart and buy it. But back then, you had to go outside of town, which was like 5 miles outside of town, to what they called the strip. And what the strip was just a long line of liquor stores. And you drive out there, and you can see the lights, I mean, from like, it was like just illuminating the sky. That's how it was. Big old billboards everywhere. And it was kind of neat because you pulled in, and then as you're driving, all these liquor stores, it looked like Vegas. I mean, it was lit up like Vegas. It looked like wow, and had all these flashing lights and all these arrows and stuff directing you to one of the liquor stores. So anyway, we parked outside of a liquor store, and I got out and was trying to get somebody to buy beer. And back then, we were going for the cheap beer. I mean, we couldn't afford Lone Star, couldn't afford the good stuff. But cheap beer back then was like, oh, you get it for $3.95, $4.95 a case, believe it or not. And that was some cheap rot gut there. That was some beer. Somewhat comes to mind is Lucky Lager, a Buckhorn, and there's some others out there. Anyway, we wasn't having much luck. But then all of a sudden there's come this man in his old beat up pickup truck, an old man, and he pulled up. I went over to him and I asked him, I said, "Sir, would you mind buying us a case of beer?" He looked at me and he said, "Son," he said, "I'd be delighted to buy you a case of beer." So I gave him like $5, and I said, "Just buy any cheap beer, the cheapest beer you can find will be fine." So he went ahead and took the money and went into the liquor store. Well, I turned around to Greaseball and my brother, and I go, "Yeah, thumbs up, we're going to get some." Waited there for a while, and finally he comes out. And when he came out, I noticed he didn't have the case of beer. So I went over to him, and he had a bag, but it was full of wine. And I asked him, I said, hey, I said, where's the beer? I said, did you not buy us the beer? Did you not buy the beer? He just kind of, well, he got it, was getting and laid the bag of beer down, and just kind of laughed and shut the door. And he said, I just want to tell you that. He says, I really appreciate the wine you bought me there, son. And he just laughed. He was laughing, and he says, maybe I can do it again sometime. He just laughed, started up that old truck, and backed out. And I was standing there. I mean, what am I going to do? Can't go tell nobody. That was our last bit of money we had. So I'll go back and get in the car, and I said, we've been cleverly duped by an old man. And we went ahead and drove home. No beer. Lost $5 in the meantime. And I think back on that and kind of laughed, and right now I kind of laugh about it and think that old man might have saved our life, because we would have got out there and got drinking and well, we've done it before, but he might have saved our life, you know, and kind of owe it to the old man for doing that, because we didn't get a beer, we didn't get liquored up, and didn't do anything foolish. And haven't seen Jerry, what we call Greaseball. I haven't seen him since like 1978. It's been several years, but to my understanding from hearsay and everything, he moved to a town outside of the city where I live, and his family owned a farm out there, kind of like a little farm, and he ended up striking oil on that farm, and he's a rich man now. I don't know. That's the story. That's the rumor. But I wouldn't doubt it any. But haven't seen him, so I don't know. Maybe he's living high on the hog, smoking them cigars and drinking the expensive whiskey. I don't know. But I'd like to see him and just, you know, meet with him and kind of drink a ice cold Lone Star and just reminisce about old times. But this is a funny story. What you know come to mind, and it really happened, and it's kind of funny how things are, and you know, thing is, we get on to our kids for doing stuff what we did ourselves, but then we do that because we have been there and we know what can happen. So not condoning underage drinking at any you know, I don't condone that at all. If you're going to drink, you need to drink responsibly, and don't drink and drive. And like I say, that old man might have saved our life, because we were stupid back then. We have been probably popping the tops, drinking, driving around drinking, and who knows. So kind of have to give him a little bit of kudos there and credit. But then again, lost $5, and back then $5 was you know, quite a bit of money. But anyway, this is a story, and hope everybody, you know, liked the story. It's a true story, and appreciate all you viewers and subscribers out there, and have more story time with Skoggit coming up, and y'all take care.